Hi everyone, I am Niiella and I'm about to face the fans on MX24. No. So when I was on Stars of the Future, if you guys didn't know, I wasn't Stars of the Future. It wasn't a gospel show, so I did, mainstream music. And actually, after the show, well, for the final, we had to write a song, an original, and I wrote a love song, and I think it was circulating for a little bit after the show. But then after that, then I went back to singing gospel music. But then sometimes, every now and then, weddings and stuff, if people give requests, I can sing love song here and there, depending on what it is. Yeah. So when I was my teenage years, around like 16, 15, all the way to about 19, I battled with a lot of depression and had really low self-esteem. I was going through lots of different things. And the one genre of music that would, in that moment, make me feel like I could keep going was gospel music. And so once I came out of the show, Stars of the Future, there was so many different things coming at me, offers, etc. But I just decided that I wanted to do gospel music because I wanted other people to feel that same love from God that I believed that I would feel in those moments when I was really down. So I decided gospel music was the thing for me. To be honest, I think I should probably say Christian music because that covers, a wider genre of all the different types of music that I do. Gospel music predominantly is meant to be, Black American music, but we just kind of adopted the term gospel music for all music that kind of relates to Jesus, God, and everything. So personally for me, I just say gospel music, but not in the technical way. I just say gospel music because it relates to Jesus and God. It's very rare for me to listen to secular music. I think the only times I would listen to secular music is probably like in passing. If I heard like a beat that I was like, oh my gosh, that was really sick, then I might go and look for it and then listen to it and be like, okay, that's cool kind of thing. But it wouldn't be like in my daily rotation, just because I'm very particular about lyrics. And sometimes depending on the message of the song, I may listen to it, I may not. Predominantly I listen to gospel music because that's what I really connect with now. What's my favorite mainstream song? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So I joined Sunday Best because there was a friend of mine who wouldn't let up. She just kept saying, Niiella, go, audition, audition, audition. And so I decided I would go to the auditions just so that she would get off my back. Initially, that's why I went. And then once I actually got there to the auditions in the UK, I started to think about the fact that I could represent the UK and Ghana at the same time, and that's never been done. We've never had a Ghanaian on such a big international platform, and also representing two places at the same time. And then I thought to myself, if I won't even do it for me, because personally I decided I wasn't going to do reality TV again in that kind of way, like a competition type of thing after Stars of the Future, because it's quite stressful. But I was like, let me do it for other people, inspire them. Even if I won't do it for myself, let me do it for them. So once I took on that mindset, I was happy to do the show, and then I went through with it. I think my most memorable experience from the competition would be making friends that became family off of the show. I mean, yes, I met Kirk Franklin, I met Jonathan, I met Erica Campbell. These are icons that I grew up listening to. Jonathan is a bit more recent, but just the fact that, like, when I think of the show, I think of the fact that I made family. Like, I think of particular people's faces. And so for me, that's the biggest deal to me, like, out of the whole show. The difference between, I guess, the American industry or even the United Kingdom or, in Ghana, I would say that the difference is the fact that when it comes to America, first of all, sometimes something that we forget a lot of the time is that America is huge in comparison to the United Kingdom or in comparison to Ghana. So the facilities that they have is a lot more that they would, it's like 10 to 1 or probably 50 to 1. And so it's easier to thrive, it's easier to blow up in those places than it is to blow up or thrive over here. But I believe that the Ghanaian music industry has grown since I started in Ghana in 2012. I just feel like it's a lot more inclusive. I feel like a lot more work needs to be done for people that who sing or perform genres that are a little bit different. For example, urban, like the rappers, people that do like alternative music, contemporary. I still feel like there's room that can be made. However, we are now in a digital era as well. And so as much as sometimes you might think, you know, radio stations may not support or TV stations may not support as much, like you just never know. Post your stuff online because you also never know where your stuff can go. So I don't like to bash the industry too much because personally, I have gotten to where I've gotten to working in and around the industry because I never take no for an answer. So I just feel like industry or no industry, you can still make it in the time that we're in. So just keep pushing. Shades of Mercy was inspired by different stages of my life. Some of the songs I wrote when I was like, let's say 19, and then some I wrote, they were current. So it was over different periods of time. And it was inspired, a lot of the songs came from different things I was going through, situations I was in. The main song, Shades of Mercy, the chorus is, if I could turn back the hands of time, I'd take all my pain, rewind, go back to a place when I was a child again and start all over with you in mind. And it's basically talking about the fact that if I had known God earlier, or at least, well, I knew of God, but if I had the relationship that I had with God now, earlier, then life would have been different. Not that I regret it, but life would have been different, and I probably wouldn't have had so much pain and, you know, like gone through situations that hurt me and had to work through all of that, even though because of all of that, I'm here now. So a lot of life situations influenced the storyline behind the songs and the writing and everything. Music-wise, I'm influenced by all kinds of music, from gospel to pop to contemporary to even folk music to like all kinds of music. I like what I like, so you find that some of the sounds are a little bit eclectic, you know, like some of them are a bit more like jazzy, or even though I don't like hardcore jazz, I think it's just noise, but you know, in small doses is great. I Need You. I actually wrote that song, I was about 16 or 17 in the UK. And I remember I was folding clothes in the conservatory area in the house, so like in the back of the house. And as I was folding the clothes, around that time, like I was just going through so much, from school to like my relationship with my mom, to just everything would just seem like it was going wrong. And so that's literally what I'm saying in the song. Like, I cry out to you, I need you, I need you. In the song, basically all I'm saying is I need you. And I'm just saying to God in that moment, all I was saying was I need you, because I felt like things were just so hard, and it was basically a cry for help. So that's what that song, you know, was about. Working with Joe was great on the Obiara Niho song, to be honest, because I don't usually write tree, so it's quite difficult for me to come up with a tree song. Like any tree song I've written, it just kind of dropped into my head. I didn't like say to myself, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna write a tree song, because it just doesn't work that way. And so when the chorus came to me in the first verse, I needed a second verse. And at the time, Joe and I were pretty cool. You know, Joe is quite a chill guy. So I reached out to him and I was like, I'm back in Ghana at a time, and I was like, I need someone to do the second verse, so would you do that for me and sing on it? And he was more than happy to. He wrote the second verse, he came on board, we went to the studio, we recorded. It was a great experience. Like I said, he's a very cool person, so it wasn't difficult working with him. We had lots of fun in the studio, recording, making jokes, you know, whilst we were like tweaking things and stuff. So it was a great experience writing that song and putting it out as well. No, because I think as a musician or as a creative, when you realize that you're not good at something, or it doesn't come to you as quickly, it's totally fine to reach out for help from someone else. You know, I think it's just maybe on this side of the world that people can be quite possessive over their songs sometimes, but a lot of the time there are some musicians that when you research, you realize that other people wrote their songs for them. So having a songwriter is not even a problem at all. Or going to someone else that I can't write. You know, I'm very good with picking up languages, accents, you know, all that kind of stuff. I'm always doing silly things. And so when it comes to pronouncing words, and like, it's not difficult. So if I need to get someone else to write something for me to sing, it's really not hard. I'll just learn it and I'll sing it as if I was the one that wrote it in the first place. So I don't see it as a barrier. I think that everyone's no-go zones should be slightly different. Obviously, I feel like as a Christian, there are certain principles that we all have, you know. In the Bible, for example, it says like no fornication, no adultery, you know, stuff like that, you know, the extremes. But I feel like when it comes to each person, you should have your individual relationship with God that keeps you within certain parameters. Even if you go through the Bible, Daniel was not the same as Joseph. Joseph wasn't the same as Moses. Moses wasn't the same as Abraham. They all had very different journeys, but because they stayed connected to God and because they had personal relationships with God, God directed them and told them what to do. And I feel like that's something as well that in our society in Ghana, like, we're quite judgmental of each other. And so sometimes you never really know what someone is going through or what stage in their journey they're at, you know. But once you see someone just do something that you think you shouldn't be doing, that it's like crucify that person immediately. But you may never know what's happening. That might be a learning curve for them that, you know, takes them to the next stage even, because now they're like more aware of their humanity. And so, you know, I feel like we need to also have a bit more grace for each other sometimes, which doesn't also mean that we should just behave anyhow, but we should have grace for each other. I'm definitely inspired by Joe Metal's work ethic. I haven't known him like right from the beginning, but I met him in the middle. And even at that point, we were in a group called Next Generation Gospel Ministers together. And it just seemed like he never let up. He was always working on something. He was always organizing an event. He had an annual event that he did, and he just kept pushing and pushing. And we literally saw right before our eyes as he just like literally went from one level to the next until he went to the VGMAs and won, you know, Artist of the Year. So I was quite inspired by that. Like, I was so happy to support and push. And, you know, I remember that time we all rallied together to vote for him. And it was an amazing feeling that we got to do that for one person. And I feel like if we were also more like that, like every year we picked one person and everyone put their pride aside and was like, this year we're all voting for, let's say, Akese, Brimpong or something, and then we all vote for Akese. Next year we're all voting for Niiella. We all, like, I just think like it's really cool, you know, where we don't have competition, or at the end of the day, it's just a bit of metal that they give to you, you know what I mean? So it's not that deep. So yeah, man. I had different days. There were some days that were lower than others. But I think the lowest point for me was when I came to Ghana. Well, I didn't come to Ghana voluntarily. I was shipped here by my mom, right? So those of you that don't know what it means to be shipped, basically means that you go on holiday to Africa, and when you get there, you know, your documents go missing because and your parents leave you out here with whatever family member or whatever. And so that's what happened to me, because I guess I was kind of spiraling out. I was searching, I was asking questions. Is God even real? What's the point of any of this? Why am I here on earth? I was asking a lot of questions. And so I think around that time, I just wasn't really thinking straight. And so I ended up getting arrested for shoplifting. Yeah. And when that happened, my mom literally at that point, I think she was like, yeah, this kid is going crazy. I need to help her. And so she, you know, she tricked me. But it's okay, I've forgiven her. And she brought me to Ghana. And I think when I got here, at that point, I had dropped out of college. I had, like, everything was just going wrong. Like, it was so bad. And so when I finally got to Ghana, I had nothing to do. They didn't even trust me to leave the house. Like, that's how bad it was, because it was like, if she goes, she's going to go missing or something like that. So the gate was always locked. I felt like I was in prison. So I remember there was one night that I didn't want to live anymore. Like, I was so depressed that I became suicidal. And if there's anyone watching this who has either experienced or is experiencing depression and suicidal thoughts, it literally gets to a point where it feels painful to be alive. Like, when you wake up, it's like, oh my God, I'm here again. And I remember there was this one night I just went on the floor and And I was crying. You know that crying that comes from your soul, that it's like you just can't breathe kind of crying. And I was just like, you know, God, if it's true that you're real at all, then I need you to see me, because apparently it says in the Bible that you have eyes, you have arms, because we are created in your image. And so if that's true, I need you to touch me, I need you to see me, because I cannot do this anymore. And I just forgot about it and I went to sleep. And I remember like a year later, I was meant to be singing in this one church. And as I was standing there, like I had a flashback, like it was crazy, right? I had like a flashback of myself, like high school, all the way through college, all the way through all the crazy things that had happened, even me getting arrested, failed relationship, just everything. It was like, and then all of a sudden, bang, I was standing back in the church. And I just felt like I was somebody else. Like all that depression, that black cloud, it was just gone. And I felt like there was so much joy that was just like radiating from here, this area, over here. That's what it felt like. There was joy coming out of me. And I started tearing up because I was like, he answered the prayer. I don't know when, I don't know how, but it felt like a surprise kind of moment. Like I did it. And that's when I was like, nah, this guy is something else. Yeah. So yeah, answered your question and some. Honestly, in the beginning, when I was going through all my things, I really disliked my mum. I'm going to use the word disliked. Just for being so strict, and for, it was almost like, you believe in this God, why do you have to force it down the throat of the rest of us, you know? And there's 7 of us. Me and my siblings were 7 altogether, so we're quite a number. And she was just very relentless. Like my mum is very unwavering in her beliefs, in what she does. Like she's just like a straight shooter. And so I just couldn't understand that. Like, you know, what is your problem, you know? But there's certain things that she would say and certain things that she would do. And just the fact that she was unwavering. When I would leave home, when I would go out, when I would do different things, it's like she was just an example of like integrity, always. Like she's human, so yeah, she made mistakes here and there and stuff, you know, thinking that she was doing it in our best interest, but maybe it wasn't always the best decision, which is totally fine. You know, I'm sure one day when I'm a parent, I'll get it even more. But she was always an example of integrity. And so as I started to grow, when I would make certain decisions and then they would like backfire in my face, basa, like in the back of my head, I would always know that, you know what, it's actually very possible to live a life of integrity and not like try and cut corners or try and cover things up. So the person that I am now, I'm very open, I'm very honest, like sometimes too much. It gets me in trouble sometimes. I'm going to open my mouth somewhere and then people are like, Niiella. And I'm like, but it's helped me so much to always be the same. I say to people, if you meet me in a dark alleyway or you see me on stage with bright lights, I'm always the same person. Like it never changes, you know. My values are now the same. It didn't always used to be like that, but I feel like it's like that because my mum was also I've gone through my own personal things, but because my mum was an example that it's possible to live a life that is just one, that as she says it, like you don't live 2 lives, like a secret life and a different, you know. That was me before, but now it's like we had to pull it all together and make it make sense. So God bless you, Mom. Right now, I am focusing more on just pouring into others, teaching others what I've learned so far, and you know, being part of like worship movements, worship collectives. I do this thing called Niiella sessions on YouTube where we pick songs that are already out and I sing them. And now that I'm in Ghana, I would like to do it with a lot of upcoming artists, just kind of pull them in. So I'm all about giving back. I know that sometimes when people make it, you know, it's almost like it's a little bit difficult to pull up other people. And it can be, because sometimes you pull someone up and then on the way up, they stab you in the back. But, you know, people will keep on peopling, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't keep on helping others, because every now and then you come across someone who is really worthy of the help, but you won't know if you don't try. And so I'm very big on helping other people right now, pulling them in and just creating systems. You know, for a long time we've been complaining that our system is not good and we don't have this and that. And so the little that I can give back, that's what I'm working on right now, to give back. But like, you know, behind the scenes, I'm always working on music. So you just never know, it might just hit you. Just might hit you with something new. The worst rumor I've heard about myself, wow, is that, because I said I'm honest, I'm like, should I really answer this question? So I helped a friend out of a very sticky situation. And when I helped her out of that sticky situation, that situation basically kind of backfired on me. And I'm not going to go into details. However, the rumor made it sound like I was a pimp, like I was pimping out my friend, which is really crazy. But yeah, I mean, I'm not even gonna lie, this might sound really weird, but I love a good rumor. I am fascinated by how people can come up with the wildest stories. It's just like, wow, like, that's really cool. And I'm not bothered by them because to me, the truth always comes out. So it's just like, it's cool. I'm fascinated by your brain. So whoever came up with that, God bless you. Maybe you should go into storytelling. I would say right now, I feel like it's already happening, really. When you mentioned the name Niiella, a lot of people associate my name with someone who is very transparent, like straight shooter. What you see is what you get, literally at all times. Call me at 4 a.m. in the morning, 12 at night. What you see is what you get. And the other thing is just the fact that I like to do things well, you know. And so excellence as well. I know that there is no such thing as excellence per se, but if I can do it to the best of my ability in that time, if it's vocally, if it's presentation, if it's speaking, if it's communicating with people, if it's making people happy, like whatever it is, I like to do it to the best of my ability. So I feel like, you know, there's always a standard that comes with the name Niiella that I'm quite grateful for, because sometimes I feel like I'm so down to earthish that sometimes I don't take myself seriously even. And so when other people bring those feedback to me, then I'm just like, okay, I can live with that. That's cool. I could say that. Boy. Okay, so I dress the way I dress because I've always been the weirdo when it comes to the way I dress, even from like high school. If we all had to wear black and white, I'll wear black, white, and then I'll put an accent of red or pink or just something else. And so I've just never liked to look like everybody else. I just feel like it's why, really. My brain just goes, why? There's so many different things out there. Why do I have to look like everyone? Why do I have to follow the trend? And so before, I think I mentioned that I used to have really low confidence and self-esteem, and I was battling depression, all these different things, and I just didn't feel like I was beautiful or pretty or anything. I couldn't even say the words, that it wouldn't pass my mouth. That's how bad it was. And so it got to a point that growing up, I was also very skinny. Like I was straight, like this, you know, so skinny. And my sisters were like more shapely than me and stuff. So when they buy us clothes, I look like this in my own, and they look nice in theirs, and they'll now come and pin here. They'll say you grow into it, you know, that kind of thing. And it used to really hurt me. And so that also added to my, just the way I felt about myself. So after I got to my teenage years and stuff, and I started to, you know, put on weight and just kind of fill out. And then I kind of got a little bit obsessed with myself. Like, you know, I would dress a particular way, and it was for attention more than anything else, really. Because in that moment, it was like, oh, wow. You know, it's almost like I was feeding the low self-esteem, because the truth was, if I didn't dress in those ways that would kind of attract other people, you know, mainly the other sex, then I wouldn't feel confident. So there was a time when, you know, working on my relationship with God, working on my relationship with myself, I just had to make a decision that I have to dress in a way that, first of all, doesn't distract people as a gospel artist. Because if I'm going on stage and I'm singing and the person didn't hear a word of what I said, and later on they came and said to me that, oh, wow, I really like your body. Like, that's actually happened to me before. And I was like, the whole reason that I dressed up and I came here, like, it was missed, actually. So I was like, I don't want to distract people, especially when I'm on stage. And I just think if I'm going to be a particular way on stage in front of people, then I should incorporate that into my whole life. And so I just, you know, I literally changed my whole wardrobe. But because I'm also a weirdo and I like to be stylish in certain ways, I was like, how do I do it in a way that I still feel comfortable? I still feel like I'm expressing myself fashionably, but at the same time too, it's just different, but then it's modest, doesn't distract people. It's all of it in one. And I guess it took time, you know, because I've gone through so many different looks. And then I kind of settled on this one for now. That's, you know, I like long shirts or, you know, skirts, dresses. And I like, you know, like a collar. I like long sleeves. And then when it comes to the whole head wraps, it's a personal instruction that God gave to me that when you're singing, when you're ministering, you wrap your hair. You always make sure that you have a head tie on. And so I'm natural, can't be bothered to always do my hair. So I was like, okay, head ties is our thing. So then I now figured out how to wrap the head ties in ways that I think is cool. Like sometimes I do two, sometimes I do the one, sometimes it's down with one hanging, just different ways. Because how can I do this, obey the instruction, and still be fashionable? So yeah, that's how we got here. I feel like it's still evolving, maybe, you know, yeah. Something you don't know about me. I mean, I do so many different things that sometimes I'm not sure what people know or they don't know. So I'm going to say one. You may know, you may not know. But I draw, I sketch, I paint. And yeah, like I'm actually really good at it. You know, I don't usually blow my trumpet, but today I will. Like, I'm amazing at sketching and painting. And so that's another thing that sometimes I want to do, like little like get-togethers where people just come hang out, you know, eat food, whatnot, and then you can buy a painting. Maybe I sing a song for you. So that's something that I would also like to look into because I do that. Hi, I'm Niiella and I just faced the fans on MX24.